It's the beginning of another weekend. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima. Akasha Tsibiri.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everything?
We're grateful to God. I'm just reflecting on life again. My immediate elder sister's birthday is on Monday. And so we are happy, grateful. I'm not going to do wishes today. I'm going to do it privately later. It was her baby's birthday. I celebrated earlier in the month. So she's a November baby. Happy birthday, Keke. That's what we call her.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Tasha.
Yeah, good job.
I'm just grateful.
Plans for the weekend, anything?
I'm hoping that this weekend I can see to my children's books. Because I've not been an available mother. Is not good at all. Especially Gufran's books. I've not checked her books the whole time. It's wrong. I talked of it yesterday. Well, I'm going to do that this weekend.
Let me come to Tokwe. How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm good. Traffic, past 9 yesterday. I was coming back from the island, and past 9, there was still serious traffic. There is no rational explanation for it because everything ended around Uronshoki simply because people refuse to use the layback. You know, they've done a place for you to park and drop off passengers or drop off people you carry, and we chose to do it on the main road, causing build-up of major traffic on the 3rd Mainland Bridge. If we all obey the rules, we would have less issues. However, tomorrow is very busy. We're doing site inspection for those that want to see what our site looks like at Ekpe. Go online and check and then follow me. When I come back, we have Women of Destiny's Thanksgiving. It was last minute. They just felt they would just do the way they do it. I'm a volunteer in Women of Destiny Daystar. But when they saw ELC, how I handled ELC, they were like, we need you. Will you be available? I said, it's God's work. I'm always available. So even though it might not be convenient, I will be there, and it will be praising God for the year. Many things have happened so far. And we're praising, hoping that, expecting that we'll end the year on a greater scale than we expected.
How are you doing, Mariam?
I'm doing fine. I see we're sort of all in, most of us.
Except me. I did not get the message.
Yes.
Purple.
I'm fine. This weekend is really, I think I'm going to I got the ticket for Princess Thing on Sunday. So I'll be going for that. Saturday will be books like you too. As I've said, you know, we're reading for exams, so we'll be studying this Saturday. That's it. It's just been a full-time mommy.
Yes.
I think we need to do a program for people that are trying to get into secondary school, like what are the questions we should talk about on the show? What are the questions you should ask?
When you start preparing them.
Yeah. I'm wearing my mommy's adire.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Like,
I have so many of these Uran mobiles, like it's in
every Friday you're covered.
Thursday and Friday. Yesterday's I warm up season. Thursday and Fridays I'm covered, at least for the next few months. But yeah, so this weekend I have assignments to do, so that'll be also booking this weekend. I have something deadline due Monday. So
how was the event yesterday?
It was nice. It was a business meeting where I had to moderate. It was nice. It was talking about gender parity, you know, ensuring that there is equality in corporate Nigeria, pretty much. And it was an interesting conversation to have women in business talk about how the struggles they've been through and how they've been able to get some kind of proper recognition that is deserved within the corporate space. But it was a nice event.
I know Mariah is an amazing moderator, so
yeah,
I
just realized that I've been moderating every day for 8 years. I think there's
a
lot of like I am so good at moderating. Like my things, I'm like.
Let's commercialize this thing.
Commercialize this event. Somebody came to me, we need to find a way to this. This thing, he did a very good job. Like, I think so too, right? Yeah. All right, let's go to a break. When we come back, we go through the fun. Oh, we don't have papers today. We'll go through the cyber papers that we have. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, let's start with, not sure which paper is first now, but we're going to start with Punch. So Punch has more controversies over police parade. I have my glasses here.
Someone to help you.
Kanu Igboho, Afenifere Ohaneze back political solution demand release. National Assembly gets $62 million for solar power project. I think that's the story we have in Punch. I'm not sure this. Were you able to pick any story there?
I have the major headline.
The major headline. Go ahead, please.
So the police parade of 14 people who invaded the home of the Justice Mary Odili, according to the spokesperson of the police, who I also watched on TV relating their findings yesterday, he said that they include a self-confessed fake police officer, because this one had admitted he was an imposter, a lawyer, an Islamic cleric, a journalist, total of 14 of them. And they said some of them, military officers, are at large. You know, the 7 others of them are at large. And according to them, these fake persons, a whistleblower, Ali Umar, and the police officer, a lawyer, Alex Onyekoro, the police officer, Lawrence Ajojo, that's the imposter police officer, he had claimed to be a chief superintendent of the police. And Stanley Kwazema, who is the freelance journalist, staged this major, you know, very, very gangster-style invasion of the house of the justice. And that they stormed the house, they found this to be fake. But my worry, how did they get a search warrant from a magistrate's court without anybody finding out before, that search warrant was given? Because that has been vacated by the magistrate saying he was misled. How did we get there? So, because we've seen this in Onogen's, what if they found something? Would they then be adopted? Because now the lawyer is saying he works with the Ministry of Justice. And then we had the AG in other papers saying, you don't work for me, I don't know you, and all of that, back and forth.
All right.
So we need proper...
Another story?
Yes, I do. So of the 16.2 billion naira that's been proposed by the government to borrow as loan, $62.1 billion will be going to the National Assembly in the construction of a 17-megawatt hybrid solar power plant. And this would power the National Assembly complex. The report says it will be funded by Sinocute, which is a Standard Chartered Bank relationship. And he says that although the document shows that this power plant will cost 60.1 M, there's silence on the 2 M, because they're getting 62.1. The project itself will cost 60.1 million. So they didn't say anything about the difference. And then they said 100 million loan will be going towards the Ministry of Women Affairs towards the Nigerian for Women project. This project will support 324,000 women's livelihood across 5 states: Abia, Kebbi, Niger, Ogun, and Taraba states. From 18 years, if you're 18 years, some local governments have been picked in these states that will help support them, help them with. Mainly, they said household income and things like that through grants. I found interesting, they said Edo State decided not to participate in this, and so they would have been the 6th state, but since they have refused to participate, just these 5 states will be benefiting from that loan.
Okay, so moving on quickly to Daily. You have another story?
Yes.
In Punch?
Yes, in Punch. Okay. There are indications that there's an intention from the government to pursue political solutions to the issues with Yoruba Nation as well as IPOB.
Okay, I took that story yesterday. Go ahead.
So in 2 separate interviews yesterday, on Thursday, Yomi Aliyu, who is representing Yoruba Nation, and Aloy Ejimafo, who is also representing IPOB, both of them in separate interview mentioned that there are indications that there would be negotiations, that will be political solutions. And let me quote what Yomi said. He said that when you don't, he said, every war ends at the round table. When youth are angry, you cannot force to quench their anger. Some youth came to me and told me they wanted to demonstrate. I told them to do it peacefully. When you don't allow people to speak up, they go on the ground, and what happens on the ground is what leads to revolution. So he's speaking to the fact that there should be conversations and not just punishment.
Okay, moving on now to Daily Trust. Prime suspect, Malami trade words. I think that's concerning the Justice Odili's raid. Shippers to cut demurrage empty container charges after strike threat. Buhari cautions world leaders against hoarding COVID-19 vaccines. 13 Nigerians die in Niger Republic gold mine collapse. Nigerians can look after themselves if infrastructure is in place, says Buhari. Missing Vanguard reporter found dead. And 5G has no health effect to reduce data cost, says NCC. Okay, which story are we taking in Daily
Okay,
Trust?
I wanted to take the missing Vanguard reporter.
Yes, that was really sad.
Very sad. He was found somewhere in Abuja and he was found dead, sadly, yes. So from the day of the day he was missing, they were able to trace his activities up until he got into the car to somewhere in Gariki, and then they just couldn't find him until they found him. That's how the report is for now. That's just sad. I hope that they are able to find what led.
But the report I also read had said that the kidnappers had contacted the family or maybe a friend or something, so asking for, I think, 100 million naira, and that if they don't pay, that they're going to kill him in 7 days, within 7 days. So maybe that's what we see the result of that. Okay, moving on now to Daily Trust.
There's a story in Daily Trust. So there's a sad story here of about 18 people who died in Niger at a gold mine that's very close to the Nigerian border. And they say about 30 Nigerians are feared to be amongst those who had passed. There isn't anything else about that story. So I guess over time we'll find out what happened.
Was it illegal?
They didn't say it was an illegal. It says an artisanal gold mine collapsed in southern Niger near the border of Nigeria. And 13 Nigerians have feared to be part of.
So good news for those that are importing things into Nigeria, because one of the challenges that many importers across different products have said is that the cost of import, the cost of demurrage is really high. Now, the shipping companies in Nigeria have agreed to a downward review of the cost of demurrage and empty container charges. Apparently, before they charge, they issue a receipt of 100,000 naira from freight forwarders when they collect for storing their empty containers. And now they say they are going to waive that, which is good news for them. And also there will be a general downward review of the demurrage charges that they give them. Another good news.
Okay, Daily Sun. Police parade invaders of Justice Odele's home. Anambra, Andy Ubar rejects results, heads to court. Jailbreak, 3,906 inmates still at large, says federal government. Troops kill 46 insurgents, rescue 180 kidnapped persons. Sit at home, IPOP goes tough on enforcers. Electoral asks why I push for direct primary, says Gbajabia Mila. And Afenifere tackles Buhari, insists Nigeria's structure must be renegotiated. Okay.
Yes, the defense headquarters has said in the last 2 weeks, 1,186 members of Boko Haram and their family members have surrendered to Nigerian troops. And they also gave an update between October 29 to November 11. They said 135 criminal suspects have been arrested, informants, logistics suppliers to terrorists and bandits. They said also 20 illegal refining sites were discovered and immobilized, 8 suspects and imposters, and 2 imposters arrested in the Niger Delta. And, you know, just a breakdown. Then they also said about 13 kidnapped civilians were also rescued. You know, just a breakdown of what they've done in, you know, a 2-week period. Well done again to our Nigerian troops. We know that you're doing the best that you can for us. And sometimes, you know, you pay with your lives. And we want to say we appreciate you. We also pray that, you know, our government provides all that you need, your welfare and all that, you know, you need as we continue to fight this insurgents.
I have the Herdsmen story. So according to the brand ambassador of the Miyetti Allah Kautal Hori, Temitope Ajayi, because I found it interesting that they had a brand ambassador, but she led some of them to visit the Minister for Women Affairs, Pauline Talen, in Abuja. And according to her, this is, you know, her reason is to secure a partnership with the federal government, the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, to support our agenda considering the position of women in nation building and development. But in the same voice, the Herdsmen are now saying that they totally agree that, you know, they should ban open grazing, but that they have a difficulty in conforming with, or in complying with that they require financial as well as, you know, some form of other support to obey the open grazing. They need the government to assist them with financial and logistics provision for alternatives to open grazing. I'm hoping that if some form of arrangement is done, such as loan or giving for them to be able to buy their own lands and start their own ranches, if they will be able to pay. Since they are, you know, informed enough to have a brand ambassador, someone to, you know, to help them look good. I hope that they are able to do the right thing totally.
So let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still reviewing the papers, and I have the report from Tribune. We're still on the other side. Let me come to you first. Go ahead, please.
So I was going to take the story of the Minister for Education, Malam Adamu, who spoke at the opening of a ceremony, National Technical Vocational Education Training. His statement was that, according to the way the Sun couched it, that the federal government just realized that over the years, Nigerian education system produces graduates with no generic or essential skills needed for global opportunities and responsibility. The event was powered by the German government, Sky, and other stakeholders with the aim of pushing TVET. So TVET is Technical and Vocational Education Trainings. And the statement was, he mentioned that Nigeria urgently requires people to revamp the TVET. That's China, Malaysia, Indonesia, South Korea, Brazil, and many other nations that have improved rapidly in industrialization did so based on a well-articulated TVET policy aimed at developing relevant human capital. I think that this is mirroring what we've said several times. People are not doing vocational trainings because they don't see the commercial value of spending their years on those trainings, and the articulation must come from the government, not that the government will be one complaining about the lack of articulation. They are the ones in charge.
You have to create the hubs to absorb these people. Okay, moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story of not taking. South Africa's ex-president, F.W. de Klerk, dies at 85. Concerned APC stakeholders demand dissolution of Buni Caretaker Committee. Paris Club consultants, they want to take advantage of Buhari's generosity to fleece Nigeria, says Fayemi. And the Uba rejects Anambra election outcome. Aregbesola says that the prison break, 3,906 inmates still at large, says Minister. While I spearheaded campaign for direct primary, says Gbajabia Miller. Afenifere demands substantial restructuring before 2023. Super TV's boss witness narrates how victim's body was found. Okay, let me start with the report by the Minister of Interior, Mr. Rauf Aregbesola. He was saying that we've had about 4,860 inmates who escaped, of which 954 had returned, and we have about 3,906 still at large. And he's saying that the government have their biometrics. Is how long can you continue to run from the law? So that the state is a patient bird, and you can run, but you cannot hide, because according to him, they have the biometrics and they can't transact anything within the shores of Nigeria without being caught, and they will be monitored, because before their escape, quite a number of them were already doing their PhDs, some of them were doing their masters, and some of them were actually doing the vocational studies. So they've put out Interpol to check all the borders to ensure that none of these people escape. But they are, according to them, they are on their watch, and they definitely assure that they will be able to get these people back.
Okay, so this Super TV CEO's murder trial is ongoing, and we were grateful that, you know, the prosecution is doing their job. According to the prosecution's witness, the owner of the facility where he was murdered, she, you know, indicated that the suspect, Chidima, what's her name, was the one who booked the facility for initially a 3-day period, and then she extended to a 5-day period. But at the time when it was extended and the payment was made for an additional 2 days, her security guard had called and said that they found a dead body and that the lady had left the facility. So this, of course, points to the initial account that we heard about the murder, and that is even consoling enough that trial is ongoing and is going smoothly, unhitched.
So I want to take the gas story. The president has been in France, still in France, received the chief executive officer of Total, Patrick Pon. I cannot pronounce it. Patrick. So in receiving Patrick, the CEO of Total, he mentioned that Nigeria has, it knows that gas is a better alternative and is a top priority for Nigeria, and that because of the global plan to reduce emission, that Nigeria is investing heavily into gas. He also mentioned how there's a lot of infrastructural development that Nigeria needs to continue to do so. He said that Nigerians are feeling the result of the past 6 years of work that they've built. There's been major improvements that they've done a lot of roads, rail, power, airports, housing, and that they intend to do much more of that. And that currently Nigeria is so dependent on crude oil and has lost a lot of energy, but they are coming back gradually. So, like we always hear from our president whenever he's abroad, we're hoping to see the result of this visit to Paris being major investments coming into Nigeria.
Yeah, go ahead.
Still at Paris, our National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Monguno, was talking about our porous borders and the fact that, you know, we have just this such large expanse of land, and it has allowed for lots of criminal activities to happen in our country, smuggling, you know, illegal migration and things like that, but that the government is doing all that it can, you know, to better man our borders. And, you know, he mentioned how we used to have quite a number of piracy at the seas, but because of the Nigerian Navy, they've done so much work that I think in 2021, there's just been one attack so far, and that the Nigerian Customs and Nigerian Immigration have come up, have developed what he says the e-custom strategy, and the Nigerian Immigration put in place an integrated border management, and this is, he says, is necessary to observe that both strategies place premium on employing technology to complement other existing physical border security arrangements. So just saying that we're going to be doing a lot more to make sure that our borders are safe and better protected.
Okay, so I have the story of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, was saying why he was supporting direct primaries. According to him, it opens up the political space and ensures that everybody, especially the electorate, have a say. So let me quote him. He says, direct primaries will bring more accountability as it would make public office holders work for the interest of their party and the electorate. He said that some members of the political class were not happy or comfortable with this, but he knows that most Nigerians support it. And as many of you know, direct primaries is where every single card-carrying member gets a chance to vote for the nomination of in the primaries. For only certain party members
makes it tougher to bribe.
Are they the ones that make the selections? But now they're saying direct is that as long as you're a card-carrying member,
you are allowed to determine who.
So that's an interesting one. Okay. Any other paper?
We have Guardian.
Let me come back. Second. Okay, Guardian. That's the last paper we have, right? Yes. Guardian, intrigues as police parade 14 alleged invaders of Odili's home. Uba rejects election results may go to tribunal. Headers kill 8 Zangon Kataf natives, injure others. Resign now or get sacked, aggrieved APC stakeholders tell Buni committee. And 24 million people living with diabetes in Africa, says WHO. Troops burst 20 illegal refining sites and recover crude. So let's talk about the diabetes. 24 million people are currently living with diabetes in Africa. That's according to WHO. 70% of people living with this ailment are not even aware of their status. They say Africans suffering from this disease are predicted to rise to 55 million by 2045. So my challenge is, when we have these numbers, we should be worried. We shouldn't be
we should be worried, and there must be a deliberate attempt, because we've seen the way it happens in America, where a lot of money is pumped into buying drugs to maintain this sickness. Naturally, we are not diabetes prone in Africa based on our diet, but we're doing a lot of eating what we don't usually eat naturally, and then we should prevent rather than looking for ways to cure it. So maybe there should be more campaign towards preventing it.
And the reason why it came up is because on the 14th of November is World Diabetes Day. And also it shows that there's a relationship between having diabetes and the effect of COVID-19 virus on people that have that. So it's important that we pay attention to our diet as well.
So this report in The Guardian, I don't know what to make of it. Troops of Operation Delta Safe conducting land and maritime and air operations to forestall activities of economic saboteurs and other criminal elements in the South-South zone have demobilized 20 illegal refining sites, 62 ovens, and among others. During the raid, they said 12 cooking pots, boilers. I don't know.
Okay, it was part of the story. Okay,
it was part of the story.
It was part of the story that I took, where the Defense Headquarters was giving an update on what they've done so far. And so where they discovered those illegal refineries, those were things that they found there.
So 8 cooling systems, 19 reservoirs, 18 large dugout pits, and 88 storage tanks. So I think illegal should be cleared from the modular so that we don't have abuses.
But this is illegal.
They said it's illegal. We didn't hear from the owners.
It's illegal.
It's illegal because
have said it's illegal. Your
but
military has
it's illegal because they don't have. They don't have approval to operate any form of refinery.
But there's also the conversation on giving.
Because the conversation for modular refineries approval has been had in the past. I would love that they clear that not all of them that we found modulars, and these are the illegals. Not just say we found 20 illegal. If we find the owners of this place, they might just be holding their papers or something.
They are holding papers.
I'm just saying, Nigeria, there's always that thin line of right.
They are just hoping that the military did not make a mistake in declaring them illegal.
I would have loved that.
Because you trust that they will make a mistake.
I don't trust that they will. I trust our military that they will do the best. But it's possible, because they're human, that they could make mistakes.
All right, thank you for pointing that out. Let's go on a break. So we come back, move on to other stories. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have one hot gist today. So I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were giving me this story about this couple, right? They were married in the U.S. for some time, and they got divorced. Now, after the divorce, both of them then moved to separate states because they moved on with their lives. 5 years after, the woman's friend married her husband, her ex-husband. And then, so the wife, the woman who's been divorced, whose friend had gone to go and marry her husband 5 years after, was now really sulking and, of course, was unhappy. Like, yes, she's divorced, but she then feels like the friend had betrayed her trust by going to marry her ex-husband because they seem to be happy now. So the question is it right for you to marry your friend's ex-husband even though they are divorced? Have you broken the girl code by doing that? That's the question, because this woman is really unhappy. Not that it affects her, but she just feels like, listen, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. What are your thoughts on this? Nima, I'm not starting with you. Let me come to talk with you.
I know that there is like a bro code, that many people are aware of. These are things you don't do as a bro to another bro. But for me, it's about loyalty. If you are my friend, on no account should you, for any reason, God forbid, marry my ex-husband.
You use all the words.
Yes, God forbid, yes. Because for me, for that woman to marry the ex-husband, it questions the sincerity of that friendship in the first place. It also brings the point of, were you always admiring him? Okay, sometimes you admire, you can look at a man and say, oh, I like the way he treats my friend. But like there are some boundaries you must never cross, because genuinely there are cases where people are separated for 5, 10 years, divorced, and they come back together. So for any reason, you have now terminated the opportunity for that relationship to recover.
Right.
So I feel that if you are a genuine friend, you must be cheering for the best. So if you truly feel that man is a good man for you to marry, and your friend had married that man, your prayer should be, let my friend come back and marry this good man. Not that you now say, hey, my friend lost opportunity, oh, let me grab the opportunity.
Right. Okay,
it doesn't
let me come to Mara, or you want to come with, or you want to go first? Nima, go ahead, please.
No.
let me hear first, Nima. Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't agree with Tokwe because of course I'm a Muslim. So if you're divorced, you have to marry before you can come back and remarry. You have to taste another.
Oh, so the woman has to go and marry somebody else?
Yes, the man too has to marry someone else.
Oh, before they come back.
So
really?
it's only after they are divorced, the second time that they can remarry.
Oh, really?
So that sentiment is taken care of. Then again, if you have moved on, why are you looking back? As you are going forward, cannot have your eyes behind you, miss your step. So while you were there, you didn't do, or you didn't work. I don't want to say you didn't do what you had to do, but it just didn't work. Let it go. And if it's the happiness of somebody else, wish them well. That's the way I see it. But to live in both worlds and be demanding, saying,
because of this.
Not breaking anything.
I feel that when you have moved on, you have moved on. But that does not take away how awkward it will be. Definitely, I'm sure you would have that uncomfortable feeling. And as Dr. said, those questions, was there something happening before? Was she always playing for him? Could she have been part of it? But if that's not the case, after 5 years, for me, I even feel that's a good enough time to meet someone new and start a new relationship. But there are some other instances where this new relationship between husband and friend is done almost like with a consent, not exactly consent, like with the acknowledgement, sis, your ex-husband and I are seeing each other. So maybe she's even aware from when they start seeing each other before they end up being married. So I think that helps with the awkwardness. I've actually I actually read a story recently where she said her friend had married her ex-husband. No, she will not be going for the wedding because she feels awkward. But she doesn't feel, not like she hates them for it, but she just feels awkward. And she wishes them the best. So it will be an awkward situation. But also another thing is, if that ex-wife had found herself in another relationship, it may not really bother her as well, because she's happy, she started her own family, and now her friend is with her husband. And if they work well for each other, she may just be
Let's talk about
happy.
the awkwardness. So your late ex-husband is married to your friend, and
you have children,
and
they
you
don't
have
have
kids,
children,
they
and
have,
then you not become...
Yeah, or the father comes, he has maybe visiting days when he comes around.
And then he brings your friend.
So to avoid all that awkwardness, because the truth is, this man had seen everything you have, and now he's seeing your friend, and it's like, you feel like you're just all together in this pod.
What
Like
is important, Maura, what should be important
very...
is the awkwardness on one level and your happiness. How important is the awkwardness compared to the happiness? It's just awkwardness. Awkwardness happens in different, scenarios. So just put that aside. I understand how uncomfortable it will be, but it's not necessarily such a... It's not such a bad thing that your friend and your ex-husband cannot have a happy relationship while you're happy for them. It will be uncomfortable, but it's life. And I always say, and I was saying to someone recently, if you live long enough in this world, you will see so many things.
So it's okay to be awkward because we're humans, but it's not something you can't deal with. That initially you find it, you will ask your questions, and if you're mature enough to have the conversations, you pass them. But for some people, they're just outrightly sentimental. You cannot. No, God forbid, can't happen. Sister, if something happens to you, in some cultures, it's your sister that marries your husband. So you are going far, making it complicated by saying your friend can't move on or they can't be happy. So this is how I see it. You are married to a man, you can't stand the way he takes toothpaste. That's the thing you can't stand about him. It's not like he's an evil man, but you can't stand that. And because of that, things just didn't work out. But your friend, that's her preference. Are you going to say that the two of them should not be happy?
You find somewhere else. Somewhere else.
So close to home.
Why should it be? No, why can't... Okay. So, well, I have seen why I don't find surprises in these things anymore, where a woman is living here. She divorces here, just on the same street, moves down here.
Yes.
Marries, bears children, and the children from the other side comes and join their step-siblings here, and life did not end.
Yes, yes, and life moves on.
Life moves on.
So we know that these things, it's not like it is. So if that's a situation, there are
crime.
There are things we don't like can happen. Does not make it right. So what the conversation
does not make it wrong either.
No, it's wrong.
No.
Until that is a case of you are a friend, you don't marry your friend's husband, whether divorced or not. Because it will question the loyalty of your friendship, and it will question if there was something, the integrity of that friendship, and if there was something already going on before. Because we've seen cases where
there wasn't anything? What if you could determine for sure?
You can't determine that.
If it's really a friend, for the woman to be hurt, there are a few things. She still feels emotionally, she still feels vested in that relationship. She still feels bad about that relationship.
Why did she leave it?
So sometimes things outside your control. I've seen people that they separated 10 years and they came back together.
Right.
You know, so because those things can happen. And in this particular case, she feels bad meant that she did not expect this, my friend, would do something like that. Right. Because we're living in two different cities. You now decide to go and marry my husband. In the worst case, at least you will bro code, will be like, I'll tell you that, babe, I like this. Good. So something is already happening. There's a bit of chemistry going on here. Do you still have interest in this man?
Permission.
Yes, that conversation should be had. And the lady would have said, I think that lady would have had a bit of closure before she will now feel
or not
bad about
because
it.
These are women.
So for me, is just like you started. You said because it's wrong. There's something you said because it feels uncomfortable, but it's wrong. There's some things also that are not wrong, but they feel uncomfortable. So let's just accept that there's some things that will be uncomfortable. And then really, because we know that this is life and uncomfortable things happen, we should just really be talking about how to transition and how to accept it and how to live with it. Because there are situations where friends will become, you know, a best friend will marry an ex-husband. It happens. So now that we know that that is life, how should I, as the ex-wife and the friend, behave? Like you said, and like I mentioned earlier, it will be nice, it will be quite decent to have that conversation. This is what we're seeing each other. In fact, the ex-husband can even say to his ex-wife, we're seeing each other. Your friend and I, yes. Or he said, no, even before, I'm hoping that the marriage was not a 2-week decision. I met her and then I decided to marry her. Do you understand? We have dated. And because they were friends before, obviously she may even be part of the family, so the children know her and they are comfortable with her and things like that. So now you have that conversation laid out. They have come to meet you and they are decent with you. Not that they need your permission, just that they need you to be aware. And they've laid it out to you, and then you now stand hands akimbo and say, no, it's not going to happen. It will be 2-0 because you have left that relationship. You have moved on. Allow other people to move on.
So in the best case scenarios, maybe they ticked all the I's and crossed all the T's, But there's some times where there's that issue of loyalty and integrity and trust. I trust you wholeheartedly.
Like I told you,
I trust you. Every single thing that was wrong with this man, I told you. You are like my listening ear in this whole marriage. And you took my weaknesses, you turned them to your strengths, and then went over to him, and it was easy. So it's a betrayal.
No, that's a different
scenario. Let me go on the break.
I'm going to come.
Let me come on the break. When we come back, we'll come to you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still talking about marrying your friend's ex-husband. And we're talking about the issue of loyalty, trust. And before the break, I was saying that when a woman shares her weaknesses with her best friend or a good friend, like, you know what, my issue is that I'm horrible in bed, I'm clueless, I don't know what to do, my husband is not patient with me, it causes fights, you know. I know that that's my weak point. Now I have a man who is unable to accept that, and eventually, years after, we're done. And he moves on because he wants somebody more firebrand. Okay. And I'm telling that to my girlfriend. 5 years down the line, and I find that my girlfriend now married the ex-husband.
Just flip the script.
Flip the script. So that is your problem. Okay, I'll go and learn it. I'll become the queen of it. So that when I get to this man, I know that this is what he lacked with my friend. Now, with that knowledge, as a woman, you feel hurt that you turned my weakness into your own strength and then went after something that belonged to me. Why, how does that make it right?
It doesn't belong to you anymore 5 years after. Doesn't belong to you anymore. You know, because they are women, worst things are, you know, betrayed loyalty amongst women, aside marrying a person's spouse.
Ex-spouse.
Ex-spouse. So worst things have happened. And I have seen where a person who is helping you through your weaknesses, trying to tell you, focus on this side of your marriage, and you're insistent. You know, some people are just stubborn. I will not do that. You have to accept me as a package. One person was saying to the spouse, I'm a Muslim woman, but I'm a modern Muslim woman. I cannot cook. I cannot this. I cannot that. And if your girlfriend is just looking at you, and then she's the confidant also to your husband, listening here, and then love happens at the X spot. So you say you should not move on. Buy emotion, so your husband, while you're married, knows your friend who is always talk to you to change, whose way of life is always wanted you to copy. And then when you divorce, he moves to that friend and says, okay, you don't have to change. That's who you are. And then marries her 5 years after, we're having the conversation.
So you have been looking at yourself during the relationship.
That's what I'm saying. Look,
so you did not help me in the relationship. You are waiting. Okay,
but they try to help you. You say you are not going to change.
How does that concern you?
You say that you're a modern woman. You're a feminist.
How does it concern you?
You can't become different.
How does it concern you?
Nobody changed you. They left you. You left on your own. You're divorced. Why are you asking the guy not to be happy? So he wants to eat his food.
Be happy elsewhere, not with my own friend.
You can't determine where his happiness will be.
Okay,
you cannot. You cannot. No, Maya, just hold on. You cannot. You're not his parents. You're not his mother. Nobody needs your approval for him to be happy.
True.
You don't have the right to sit comfortable, get your cake, and eat your cake and demand it. You're divorced from him. You're telling him you want to be happy, but this is how. No. Life cannot be giving it to you like that.
Yeah. So the only way, I don't like the way we're telling this story as if a man is there as the gift for the women to be deciding and playing around and determine, you know. There's also the part of a man who has found himself divorced from a relationship and has gone ahead to just be friends with people and probably had asked this friend and she did not accept. So it's not always that women are struggling to get this emperor's attention. You know, things happen in between people, relationships, and over time. So we have a woman who, in her own case, she may think she's looking at this man that you have been my wife's friend. I mean my friend's husband. Sorry, you've been my friend's husband, and this may be uncomfortable for me. Do you know the sort of conversations that they have? And to even make it about sex or about intimacy in the house or about cooking. Then sometimes it's just that I love the way when we sit down and we talk, you listen to me, you understand my vision, you understand that this is my purpose and this is what I want to accomplish, and you get it. Your friend did not get it, and that's why it ended. It did not end because you were in the picture. It had nothing to do with you. It ended because it did not work out. And then if they come and tell you that, would you then still insist that that relationship should not go on, even when you knew it had nothing to do with whatever you told her, had nothing to do with however it is that your relationship...
So let me flip it a bit.
Yeah.
So it's not about the woman now. Let's flip it. It's about the man. So the man... Now, me, you're my husband, and I come to you, and you went about to go marry her 5 years after. Now, my issue's not with her anymore because I already feel betrayed. My issue's with you.
Okay.
Why? I have been intimate with you. You and I had a thing. Yes, things didn't work out, but it's disrespectful to me that of all the women out there, you couldn't go and find an extra and somebody else. It had to be my own friend. Okay. That in itself is disrespectful to what we had and what we shared and our history.
Then you know how I answer, I'm sorry you feel disrespected, but my happiness is important to me, and I'm sure you want for me to be happy. I'm sorry that it's uncomfortable, that where I found my happiness is where it makes you uncomfortable, but I hope you get over your discomfort and see the bigger picture.
Can I talk about this, our quest for happiness? You know, oh, I want to be happy. I just want to be happy. Whatever makes you happy, in a selfish way, pursuing personal happiness at the detriment of other people around you. Because I want to be happy. whether you like, it is I stand on your head. It makes me happy to stand on your head. It's happiness. I find my happiness sleeping with your husband. It's happiness. As long as I am happy, it does not matter whether it's right or wrong. There must be boundaries. What is right, what is proper. There are etiquettes, things that you don't do. So where we agree, where I agree with Mariam is in what we've said earlier. That conversation should have been had early enough. And there are some bitter women who have, or bitter divorce, where one party still just feels, I am not okay, you must never be okay. Like, if I'm not getting myself, you don't have a right to move on. So, barring bitterness, I believe that if divorce has happened, there must be a way to resolve, but don't bring it close to home. You know, there are stories where we hear that a woman died, and then in the next few months or a year after, the best friend of the woman now moves into the house and say, I'm the best person to help her take care of her children. You know, I'm her friend. I really love her. So I don't want them to go and marry somebody from far. I want him to marry somebody that can take care of my friend's children very well.
How would a man feel if his divorced wife marries his friend?
They have moved on since men don't have time.
Really? You'd be surprised. They don't have time. There's some men that will not find for let me help Mariam define this properly. Please. So you're a man, you live in a 2-bedroom house, your flat, things happen, you fall, the woman left. She now marries your friend who lives in a 5-bedroom duplex, is doing very well, lives in Banana Island, travels to Europe every single weekend, and she's doing better, and she looks fresher, happier, and she's and you know, as a man, you now feel like, okay, I guess I wasn't good enough for her. So there's somewhere inside you that you feel like I am a failure because I couldn't be the man this woman wanted me to be. So that you
can't kill your friend for that. Just on Sunday, just this last Sunday, I had to answer this question. So a man who would usually fight about his wife's laziness in cooking, everything, she just wasn't the good woman that he wanted her to be. You know, he would judge her by his mother's standard and everything. And the friend that he used to talk to just used to say, you did not see your gifts. Ashe. The friend, while they were in school, would have wanted to marry his wife, but you know, the girl was focusing on him. So he waited for them, advising them till they divorced. Yes, advising them to make it work. Talking to his friend, every woman can cook, try and accept her like that. But you know, this one, because he had support from his family, said, no, until you go, you must go, you must go. So when the day they threw her out, this one just drove past, packed her things and said, I was helping you through the divorce. Helped her till 3 years later, helped her inside his house. Yes. Because he's always cherished that she's a jewel, she's a prized possession. And in her house now, cooks everywhere. It is everywhere. Everything to make the woman happy. So how does it make the man feel? The man, no, now in retrospect, he was once saying to me, Odalemini, and I kept saying to him, Odaleni, because he just moved on with her. And I said, no, but you know, he's the only one actually of my friends who kept telling me I should take her like that.
So he feels hurt. So it's the same thing we're saying.
He didn't feel hurt. He's realizing his full heart, he's fully at the prior. He's now, in retrospect, just realizing. He initially started from a bitter point, and he remembers that his friend used to tell him, manage your own like that, you know, probably because of what that one has seen.
Please, I would like to hear from our viewers. 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. But let me go on a break. When we come back, we'd like to hear your thoughts. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this matter. Please call us on 081-270-53687. Also on 091-390-76948. You can also send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. I'd really like to hear your tweets. I'm told I have a caller already. Good morning. Are you there? Hello? I think it's Bola. Hello, are you there? I think we lost our call. You have any messages?
Yes. Yemi Ojuolakwe says, you are not in a position to determine someone's happiness in life when it comes to relationship or who are intended to be with after you are gone. And he says, what happens to sister code? Why recycling men in a world where there are 7 million people? Cole Williams says, Miriam, I disagree with you, beautiful Miriam. There should be boundaries. Miliki says, some people ended up with an incompatible partner and then later they find true love. Me, I'm seeing this matter differently.
Grace says, if a man feels your friend is better than you, then let him be. It's not your own. Don't feel jealous and go look for your own. Everyone has a special person that will value and treat them right, no matter their flaws.
Let me take a call. Okay. Bumi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Very clearly. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show. Please clap for the guest.
Thank you. I've always loved your show. I'm happy my call came true today.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm happy. Okay, please, I want to contribute to what you're saying.
Yes.
This morning. Firstly, I completely disagree with a friend marrying the ex-husband of a friend. I don't think it's right. Nima mentioned something earlier that if it's the sister, I think it's even better with a sister. Marrying your ex-husband is completely wrong for me, please. It's completely wrong. I don't agree to that. Why don't you move on to someone else?
Exactly.
Remember that if you stay in that relationship, there's no friendship again.
Okay.
It can't work. There's no friendship anywhere again.
Thank you very much.
But
they can be sacrificing.
They are sacrificing because every time I see them together, I'll be imagining.
Why? So that means you've not moved on?
No, but we had something together. The Okafor's law. We've had something together. Now you are not having it with the person. I will think of it. It will flash through my head. Movies will be playing that she don't play.
The only times I think this would be a problem for women. If that woman were to move on to a multi-billionaire, she would not care if you let her end up with the Queen of England. But if the person thinks that, maybe for any reason, my own financial circumstances are not good enough, or they're worse off because I have divorced this man, and this my friend, who I knew financially wasn't okay, is now enjoying what I think I should have been enjoying, even though I would not have been happy in the marriage, even though I wasn't happy, and that's why we're divorced. Why is she enjoying the benefits of something I didn't want to be a part of? So that's what it's about. So it's not about their happiness now, it's about your selfishness. Why should she enjoy the things that, should come to me because I was there first? And even for a man, and that's why I was trying to make us understand that sometimes it's not your friend just waiting to be married by your husband. Your ex-husband can actively pursue a woman and decided that this is the person that he wants to be with. So she was not just waiting, so he's also scheming and, to marry your husband.
That's why I flipped it. Sometimes it's not about the woman, it's the man, actually. Yes. And it's also wrong, morally wrong for him to pursue. Morally wrong to pursue somebody who was very close to my wife. I think is wrong.
Morally.
Let me take this call.
It's too big now.
Uncomfortable. Good morning. Are you there? Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my name is Aidi from Admara, and I've been watching the program all morning. I want to say that is this for lack of options in life? Is it or for lack of respect for the relationship you had with your friend? There is no Yoruba say there is no form of relationship that went far that does not have a residue. So for the respect you have for your friend, I think people should stay away from the relationships their friends have had. I don't accept they didn't have mutual respect for one another. Maybe it was just acquaintances. Okay, I know him, I know her. But if they were really friends, I think that we should not be selfish. The world is becoming very selfish and highly sensitive. And I think that we should consider other people.
Thank you very much, Ayodeji. So it's going back to the issue of selfishness. So we're saying, okay, right, they've not committed a crime, right? Right, they've not committed a crime, but we're saying that there are some things we should also be considerate of others' feelings. We shouldn't only think of me, myself, and my happiness. I'm just happy. It's not hurting you. At least I'm okay. But we're saying that in consideration of other people's feelings, their experiences, where they're coming from, you should stay away.
So
that's what he's saying.
Considerate of other people's feelings is okay. If you have the time in your happiness to be considerate of your friends' feelings. But if you are not, you've not committed any sin.
And I don't think that's a lack of consideration for feelings. Because to give you 5 years, I'm sorry, to give you 5 years could have been, you know what, I've actually wanted this, but we decided
we
fought it, but now we know for sure we're meant to be.
See, I was going to land on something when I was speaking earlier, and I sort of forgot it. That, you know, it's okay not to be, you know, that you don't consider the person doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. Sometimes it's just meant to be. And it's okay if you two allow it be. Your inability to allow it be shows that we have plenty of people who need counseling, who need help and letting go of the things that they consider wrong. Have you not had friends who, when you're struggling to make a marriage work, find it funny that you're sticking to it? When you're struggling to make a career work, find it funny that they're sticking to it. And then something happens, you let it go. And you're wondering why they don't consider you if they want it. If you believe in something, you're married, stick to it, make it work.
Let me take a
if
few
you let it go, be certain at the time you're letting it go, it is never going to work for you. It's easier that way to leave it. No matter how it moves.
Nima, I'm not leaving it for you. I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go for the public. I'm not leaving it for my friends.
You are part of the public.
I'm letting it go. I'm not letting it go to you.
Now,
I'm letting it go for public. Come and take. It's true. Now I'm not leaving it for you.
Let go of that your necklace and you throw it up. If I love it, Nima, among these three, I will catch that necklace.
It's like when someone throws a bouquet and say, I'm throwing the bouquet, but I'm throwing it
to you. But no, it's not to you. I will make sure that person you're throwing it for not catch. I will kick and fight and get it.
Let me take this call. Lillian, are you there for me to do that? Oh, I'm so sorry. Please try to call her back. Yes, let's take it to
Black Diamond says, Mariam Longe, I agree with you. Jesiah Ogbo, Jesiah says, the question of... the question is it right? I think the conscience and the individuals involved may be the determining factor. We know when awkwardness is knocking on the door. The conscience won't lie. If that is the case, the awkwardness that would be a result from such a union would most likely destroy the friendship. Would that be worth it? Would it be right? The indicator is what would it be? Rachel says, most divorces don't happen on a happy note. So for my friend to go there, that is disloyalty to me. Let her marry another. Somebody says, do you remember acrimony?
Yes.
But even acrimony needed help. You know, she didn't let go.
I have to go on a break. I'm going to bring it out guest, but I'd like to hear his thoughts on it. But think about it this way. It's 10 p.m. You're in your bed by yourself. And you're thinking right now, my ex-husband is with my friend.
And you're imagining the movie playing.
And you're just thinking to yourself,
Mariah.
Me, Nima.
I'm here.
Think about it. You're at 10 p.m. in this fabulous bed, all the way in the Maldives. And then you have a handsome, rich, beautiful man beside you. Are you going to be thinking about any ex-husband with anybody anywhere?
Number two is that
if you're not happy, you will be expecting unhappiness everywhere.
I will not be in my bed if I feel that way about my husband. It will not be ex-lie-lie. Lie.
You hold on tight.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, I'll bring in our guests to join the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So join us on the show is a notable Nollywood actor who has been in the industry for a long time and has made waves himself. Welcome with us, Ayo Badmus in the building.
Good to have you on the show.
We'll talk about movies and Nollywood and the industry in a minute. But before we go ahead, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this conversation. So before you came on, we're talking about a woman marrying her friend's ex-husband. Now, and we put together a scenario where a man divorces his wife. Maybe she didn't want to leave him. She loved him. Things happened, and he just said he's done. And he asked for the divorce, and they left and separated. Now, this woman's friend now goes to marry the man. Do you think it's right, or he's within his right to marry whoever he wants to marry?
Yeah, the law of these countries are giving us these fundamental human rights. So, he has his rights. But what about my emotion? Yeah. It is very, very wrong. It's going to affect you. Somebody, when you talk about man, if it happens to me, to be terrible, to be disgusting. I will develop even schizophrenia immediately.
If your ex-wife marries your friend.
I won't be able to even look at them in the face. Oh. Where will I bury my head? Well, I mean, I'll feel so jealous. Because this woman, there was affection between us before we divorced. I approached her. There must be something. There must be chemistry between us.
Yes.
I went to that level. We got married. Whatever comes, whatever happened later, we divorced. Even though if I see my ex-wife walking on the streets...
Do you have an ex-wife in real life?
Yes.
So you would be sad if she had married your friend?
Never.
It must not happen.
Never. It will never happen. Must not happen. Like I said, you have your right. You know, it can happen, but it won't happen to me.
So
in Jesus, it will not happen to me.
So you see, it's nice to say it in a nice, flowery way. No, she's moving on to her happiness.
People, but
when it comes so close to you, and you know that, okay, this is a woman I spent so much intimacy, friendship, connection with. Another friend who I trusted. It would be aside from awkward. It's a notch higher than awkward. It is real betrayal. It's really.
Why did you divorce? I don't get it.
Because life happens.
You know now. Somebody that you love so much enough to not be able to turn your eye away or be able to settle it when you're moving on. Don't divorce them.
So a woman is divorced my husband because she's unable to have children. You can't have children. And finally, your husband says, you know what, your husband stays with you for some time. After 5 years, like, you know, Mara, you know what, so I need to move on. And he leaves, and you're hurt. Then he goes on to marry your friend, and they have 4 children.
It's not done. It's not done.
It's not done, Bao.
It's hard.
What's going to stop it? No, what's going to stop it now?
Even Mariam has left you on the table.
So this is, well, you guys maybe are on the different side. If I were unable to have children for my husband, I would shift. Enjoy my marriage while another person comes and have children and one big family. So
no, that's fine,
I would still be with my husband.
Second wife is different.
Second wife is different with your friend.
Even my friend is the second wife. I will be happy if I'm with my husband.
Very different, though.
I won't be leaving my husband when I'm
not. Some people could accept that. You know, I could see from my own angle. Some people, you know, accept that. But from the man point of view, wow, men will be shaking. The legs will be shaking, baby. the body temperature will change. And this is why, you know that men invented manhood because of jealousy.
It's true. It's true.
So please, just avoid it.
I'm talking about a divorced spouse, not a spouse that
No, divorced men are the ones who used to.
And you know, you were surprised about how jealousy. I mean, these are really interesting. Do men really get this jealous?
They get so.
They get it. They'll be shaking.
of their exes.
Our temperature will change. My temperature will change. I'll talk about myself. My temperature will change. I don't want to see my wife holding hands with another person. My ex-wife holding hands with another man. I will look away.
No, another man or another friend, your friend. Another man is okay.
I said, even talking about my own friend
not
now.
Of friends.
Okay, but
my friend is involved.
Man.
Yeah, you know, they will share what I share.
How about if it's just someone you didn't know?
Well, it's okay, but I don't want to see them.
Okay.
I get too jealous.
Because I don't
want to see them.
Because Mariah, we need to remember, when we were dating, there were different kinds of men that would date you. There's some that because they have dated you or they have talked to you, you cannot date any other person again. They have not married you. They have just been friends with you. You cannot have anybody else. And then there are some that you move on and you move on. So I think personality also matters.
Oh, yes. We have ego. Your ego is so high.
Yeah, I agree with this.
Of course. You can marry 2 wives, 3 wives. But when it comes to sharing my wife, I don't know about the Europeans or Americans. I don't know their own society. Maybe they would have said that. You know,
our culture.
My ex-wife coming to my house with my friend. I feel so bad. I can be crying.
It's interesting to get this perspective. So there was a we were watching a movie and Yoruba movie of a married woman cheating, and when I saw my husband's reaction was like, how can a man be going out with another married woman? This is terrible. This is inhuman. It is evil. I did not know that men can be that jealous. I felt like, oh man, like men are more. So apparently jealousy is.
All right. So you see, both sides. Now, we're going to wrap up.
One side of one side of the other side. One side.
Yes, balance for us. Let's go and break. When we come back, we'll talk about his career and what his plans are. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Please.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have Ayo Badmus with us. So let's talk about Nollywood for a moment, because I know that you're quite prominent in Yoruba movies, and I know that because they are very indigenous, and many people feel that, listen, they speak the culture in to an extent compared to English movies. But in your view, how can we begin to do more movies that are not just culturally connecting, but can actually be exportable, where globally they can watch our movies and still, in indigenous movies, I'm talking about, not the English ones, indigenous movies, and still accept it the way it is?
First, we have to correct what, when you call the Nigerian film, one is Yoruba film, one is English film. The film is film. When you remove the language, it's a film that can display anywhere, telling a story. So you address it as English-speaking film, Nigerian English-speaking film, then Nigerian Yoruba-speaking film. So that is that. Now, film is one all over the world. I watched one film, The Last Samurai. This guy is the lead actor, Tom Cruise. So he went to China to shoot this film. So about 90% of the film is Chinese. He speaks English, of course. So at the end of the film, there was an interview, and they asked him, how did you get on with these actors? In a few days. He said, film is universal. Film is, the language of film is the act, not that language you're talking about. That they could connect immediately when they saw each other because you're an actor. So a good film that can be exported out of Nigeria is the one that has a cultural base. Majorly, even the language. Especially. That is why when this big studio came and said, look, Oscar, is it Oscar? Is it Oscar?
Yes.
Said, look, something good can come from Nigeria, but make sure the language is indigenous. We couldn't do it. So much English actors. They don't like that. It is Nigerian film. Export your culture. And we have problem in that.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I said we speak English too, but I understand what you mean, because recently just watching the Squid Game, even though of course it was subtitled. Yeah. What I found interesting was that from the expressions are universal. You know, it's still no. You could surprise, it's still surprise in whatever language it is. So I see that. And for me, I would one day would love to see a Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, movie on that level, where we put in everything and just celebrate our culture and our language, and then have it, viewed and screened across the world. Are there any movies you think that have come close to that? Of course, yeah. You know how we started? We started from nothing. That's why even they call it Nollywood. Nothing wood. We started from nothing, actually, from collective efforts, from us. Some of us don't even collect money. We go on set 1 month, you don't collect cover. You even spend your money on set. So by the time the film comes out, we don't even have the proper guided distribution and market. So we have problem in selling. We're not making money, but the demand. I thank the Nigerian audience because they made us to where we are today, because they keep coming for us. They were buying our films. And of course, the demand. That was why you see some of us were dying at one point, having stroke, whatever, because there was a moment job. We go on set for 1 month, and we don't even sleep at night. We shoot till 4 in the morning, 4 a.m. And we start the next day by 7. We're on set again. So we've done that. And then the storyline, number one, must have taste. The storyline must be very good, must be accepted worldwide. Right. The standard. Right. Then from there, the actors with skills. Okay? Storyline, the skilled actors, and of course,
the background. That is the people working behind the scene.
Okay, so...
Good. So with that, we're set to go.
Right.
So I have enjoyed a few Nigerian movies on Netflix, and I've seen some that are really, really annoying, you know, but I've seen a lot more improvement. Like, it's undeniable that there is investment in the equipment, in the finish, in the storytelling. There's improvement in this industry, and I'm very happy that many of you that are paid the price are getting to now see the growth that you desire. But in going forward, one of the challenges I've seen is we don't have studios. Like, we don't have that massive warehouse where you can create any sets. You can build Legos inside the studio. You can do stuff like that. How do you think we can sell to the private industries, these private individuals, to put the money necessary to build these studios locally? Because I know that many people are expecting that maybe Sony or these international bodies would come. How about we create those studios here? What do you think needs to be done?
We need to work hard more, work harder, because we're doing something really good. Some of these Nigerian youths who have been abroad, study film, they went to school film to study about handling the camera and, of course, directing. So they're doing wonderfully well. They've joined us now. They're with us. So things are going smoothly. That's why you see something going well. That was why Netflix came. They've been saying something. So they're encouraging us, and again, they're giving us funding to produce or correct some of the things we're doing. So you see more better films. You see more better films.
I need to ask you this, because I don't know if we are indeed ready for this investment, this interest, because I know TINAPA was created at the time where all the movie makers were still rather just going down the street or go and go to Baba Sikira's house to go and borrow his
shoot everything inside the house.
Nobody understood and appreciated what a TINAPA could offer. TINAPA was offering you a full film village, you know. So, but then we didn't make use of it. I think it was only Moabudu at the time that went there, used it for a period, for a season, but still nobody's really utilizing TINAPA as it is. So, are we ready as Nollywood for these influx of these Nigerian youths that are coming home, that have gone to get professional? Are we ready to receive their expertise at this time?
Yeah, we're getting ready. Like I said, some of the films we are bringing out now are better. But we cannot afford the studio because of distribution and marketing. We're not getting the money back. So nobody could invest in our industry now. There was a time a banker told me, like, look, I can't invest there. We can't invest there because 90% of your film is being pirated. And that is true. So we need to do more. The big giant studios will come to Nigeria. The same thing happened to India. When they were working like we are doing now, there's so many work that were going on at that time. They were just doing everything they like. But when the studios saw them, they came because now they have the larger crowd. That's what they need. When you have people, when you have the audience, they come and invest, and they'll get their money back. It's a business. It's not just art. So as we go along, this will get changing. In the next 5 years, we won't be where we are.
Yeah, but despite the allegations of piracy in the industry, some of your colleagues are making their monies with their movies, strategizing with film apps, cinemas, and all of that, securing their investments. Why are we not generalizing these solutions and making everybody resort to that?
Yeah, the big boys will go to the left, the smaller boys will go to the right, and it's everywhere. When you go to the US, even we have a studio, video actors, you have television actors, you have, of course, the big screen producers. So everybody makes their own in their own level. Okay, so we want to go higher, and the higher is the cinema. That's the culture of film. The culture of film is cinema. That's where we want to end up to. And we could not afford to even to shoot with celluloid. That is why we converted to digital, and it works for us. So when you shoot with digital, you can transfer it to celluloid. Then we start making money. It's gradual. We can't jump.
Well, let me try to add.
We'll get there.
Mr. Let me try to add to what Nimo was trying to say, because the truth is that it's almost as though we've not totally articulated what we need in Nollywood. Because just like you said earlier, we need screens like in every single local government.
Yes.
The least we can do is every single local government must have a cinema. So that you produce a movie, I can get my money back within weeks that I've got. Before I now even go to film and go to pirating. So is it that because we've not really articulated what our needs are to the international investors, they need to know what exactly we need, because that's the only way you can make your money when you produce.
Let me quickly even add to that. So in Lagos, for instance, they had 6 geopolitical cinemas in the 6 geopolitical zones of Lagos. For this purpose, you have cinemas in Oregu, small, everywhere. How have you people been utilizing it, even as small actors and small players?
It's too short, very, very short, in fact. So there was a time, during Fashola time, we had a meeting with him, and he believed in us so much that he said, look, every local government, we should have a cinema. We should not wait for building a big one with AC, whatever. Just put on something. When I was growing up, Sheila Cinema does not have AC. Royal Cinema does not have AC. And the Indians are making money every day in the 70s. So we could build something like that, 4 or 5 in each local government. People will come and watch films. We will start from there. Fashola had a meeting with us, but he said, look, our problem now is nobody wants to give their land. You go to every area you see, they will tell my father is united.
But they have now,
every case is in court. Most of the land, every case of land are in court.
Well, in the world of Netflix now, and is cinema still really something you should be looking to when we're talking about distribution and making money from that industry? Just as these new apps keep coming out in other countries, can we find localized
streaming apps?
May not be streaming apps, just something that's so locally ours and indigenous to us that we can use to project our movies. So I do remember as a child, I used to go to the cinemas to watch Indian movies. And I think there was this popular Ogunde movies, were so popular. And I feel that when you do something that is not yours, it was not part of your culture, you don't understand it, and then you don't know how to build from it. But naturally, our own culture was stage plays. How can we build from stage plays and project our films and make money from what we are used to doing?
From the beginning, I said it's a bit difficult because we have to grow step by step. Yeah. Because it is a culture. So we cannot just jump. Before we were crawling. Yeah. I'm shocked to the stage where we are today because I've seen some films. I thought, wow. I thought we cannot develop it in the next 20 years. Now we're doing something now. Fantastic films are coming up. Yeah. So you see actors. One thing that is very important is actors with skills. We see actors and you think, wow, they deliver their... No, it's not about talking in films. Nigerian likes talking, sitting down, dialogue, in films. It's not just that. It's about movements, about reactions, about reaction and expressions. And it's not... Some actors don't even talk in films.
Yes.
Apashino is about talking. When he talks, wow. Then other actors, it's about movements, about reaction and expression. It's part of the film. So we are not there yet. We're still growing. Yeah. So give us more chance. It won't take too long. Then Nigerian film will be bam. Then the studio will come in.
So I see you always mentioning studios coming in because I believe that you actually bring in a lot of improvements.
That's what we need.
But I feel that the culture, like deliberately pushing the culture, when you say we are bringing in these new, well-trained actors from the film schools, are they coming into the Yoruba industry? We have the niche Yoruba. Are they producing Yoruba movies that tell the Yoruba stories, the values of Yoruba people? Or we're just going commercial? We want to do movies that would sell. Or movies that would be funny. I've seen a few movies that were so hyped on social media, and it was a waste of my money going to watch it in the cinema, and I feel really bad. So now I'm skeptical about watching Nigerian movies in the cinema. But I really wish we can tell the true Yoruba, yes, the stories of like each culture, Nigerian story. And are they getting into your own niche?
Now we're working on writers. We have a guild of writers. This is where everything starts from. Film starts from. There's no if there's no write-up, forget it, there's no film. There must be a script, a well-constructed script with taste. So it should be about our culture. We have people who screen us, and they're not doing much. You could say it. And for our society, we love English. Anything English, we love it. and this is killing us. Go to Guatemala, Venezuela, they speak Yoruba there. I'm talking about Yoruba now. They speak the language and they display the culture, but it's dying here. Religious houses are not helping out. The society is not helping out. So, we want to deal with this society. If we display more of our culture, they won't buy our films. Those are the things some of us are talking about. Like, look, writer changes, the changes. Oh, they won't come and watch this film. So we compromise. Go for English and English and English, and that will. I don't want to use that word.
Speak English in Nigeria.
Kill our English. Not everybody. About 35% of Nigerians are educated. Hello.
So there are people that don't understand.
So there are people that don't understand.
So we do movies in pidgin English. Maybe that would be more
of course.
acceptable across the country.
Now, what we do now is, I want to answer that question. What we do now is, you have a standard film, we speak Yoruba, speak pidgin, and speak Igbo and Hausa. We're doing that now.
Make it cover
like Wazobia films. Yeah. We're doing that, and we'll do more of that.
Right. Okay, we have to wrap up, but let me final thoughts.
You have a movie? Do you have
Then we're working on...
Oh, yes.
Let us know in 10 seconds.
I won't mention name now, and I won't mention the source, but there's a big source behind me. Thank God for that.
Oh, so, they're funding you.
I would love to. I don't know if people can come back here twice. I'll come back and
tell us.
Okay, but very soon, we're going to say something of culture. In fact, I'm going back to... No.
You don't want to say it. You're working on something new.
Wish you all the best.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure coming here. Thanks.
That's all we can take this week on Your View. We'll see you on Monday. Have a fabulous weekend. See you then.